Om Shri Sadgurave Namaha. All of us here are people who had many years of Shri Sadguru's grace, blessings and training. So, for us, that contact with the Guru was substantial and always a source of support and joy. So now we'll meditate on Sadguru, thinking of the Upadesha of Sadguru's, which is most relevant for meditation. Sadguru said, when you take something and use it, if you put it back in the place where you took it from, then you will know where it is when you want it later and it won't get lost. Similarly with the mind, the place where it belongs is the feet of the Lord. So the mind, we cannot be all the time thinking about God, Sadguru told us. But when we finish whatever the mind has to be thinking about, it should be a return to where it belongs, that is the feet of Sri Bhagavan. In our case, the feet of Sri Sadguru. So, we'll all now meditate on Sri Sadguru. Om Shri Sadguruve Namaha. We'll all now meditate on Sadguru, and after 10 minutes, then we'll have that. Narayana. Om Shri Sadgurave Namaha. Finish the period for the meditation. And Sri Kumar has generally been interacting with many of the devotees and talking with them about Sadguru. And there are some doubts which devotees have been having and which he voiced on their behalf. He said that Sadguru was always here, and now Sadguru is not physically here, though we are all feeling her presence. So, some things we need clarifications about. One was, how does one pray when we are used to following a certain pattern of prayer and sacrifice? So, how does one pray? The second is, does one continue to write to Sadguru? The third is, what does one pray for when you pray to Sadguru? The prayer we'll take separately. First we'll take the matter about writing to Sadguru. So it has been always habit of Sri Peetam devotees to write to Sri Sadguru. Because Sadhguru used to, for long periods, not see people, be antarmukham. Because of that, people used to write letters to Sadhguru. And Sadhguru used to read all those letters. How she read those letters, even periods when she was in antarmukham and her mind was fully drawn back, I am not able to understand, but she was able to read those letters and sometimes give responses. Sometimes she would tell people, you write to me, if they have problem, you write to me, you write to me. You don't have to, so you write it. That is because when one writes to Sadhguru, one forms ideas in our mind. What is it that is troubling us? What is it that we are happy about? What is it we are thinking about? Everything gets clear in our mind. And then we put it onto paper, so then that it's firm in our minds. And when we do it, we do everything with an intent. So that intent with which it is done is that we are telling Sadhguru. We are seeking Sadhguru's blessings. We want asking for Sadhguru's intervention in our lives. Now, Sadhguru really doesn't need us to be writing the letters. I'm talking even when Sadhguru was here. Sadhguru didn't really need us to write the letters. But Sadhguru asked for it to be done. Once I remember long ago, when Sadhguru was not seeing anybody, one lady came to Sri Pidam and she started saying her problems to Vishnu Mohan. So, there is one thing which Vishnu Mohan did not like. That was people feeling self-pity, feeling sorry for themselves. So if you are going to sit with him, many of us have sat and spoken with him and said our difficulties to him, he'll listen. He'll either say what could be done to make things easier, or he would go up and ask Sadhguru and come down again and tell if there was an instruction from Sadhguru, what that instruction would be. Now, he had spent a lot of time listening to the problem. If they were going to say, this is my problem, I need help. But if you're going to say things like what that lady said there, all my life I've had trials and tribulations. Wherever I go, I'm having difficulties. Why am I only being singled out for punishment by God like this? Why is God doing this? He said, please take a pen and paper and write it to Sadhguru. There was some problem which she wanted to convey. But it was, like how, gulab jamun is soaked in that syrup, in the jeera, like that it was soaked in self-pity. What her problem was, what she wanted to convey, it was soaked in self-pity and could not even float. It was soaked so much. So he said, you write it to Sadhguru. You don't tell me, you write it to Sadhguru. Then he gave her pen and paper and he came off. Then he came and told Sadhguru. At that time I was sitting there. She came and she said this, her life is full of trials and tribulations. All right. Told her to write to you. So Sadhguru said, okay. They continued talking for some time. Then that lady rang the bell. That means she's finished writing the letter and crying. So when Vishnuman got up to go there to take the letter, Sadhguru said, tell her to do this, tell her to do that, gave some instructions for her and told Vishnu. So that letter has been written, but it has not been read by Sadhguru. It has not even been taken up to Sadhguru. But Sadhguru has given the reply. But Sadhguru wanted a letter to be written. Sadhguru always said the letter should be written because at that time there is a conscious calling down of God's power. Just like how we do when we pray in the morning. Consciously they call it down. So, when we call down Sadhguru's grace, then we receive it. I told you, when it is written down, it is more concrete than when we talk. Because when we talk to God in the puja room, it is something which Sadhguru wants us to do, Sadhguru expects us to do, Sadhguru has told us so many times that we should be doing. But here when you write it down to Sadhguru, it becomes a form and your mind is clear and you're able to think clearly. So, when you write to Sadhguru, you need not necessarily, leave it. Unfortunately, in the past 10 years, writing to Sadhguru has come down. Even when Sadhguru was not giving darshan, even when Sadhguru was unwell, very few letters came. Even though we told devotees that Sadhguru was herself reading emails, very few emails also came. Devotees were not making enough effort to really reach out to Sadhguru's feet and sit in the shade of her feet. So, but even there was one or two letters which Sadhguru read even when she was in hospital. She reread it because she had it. That letter had come in, so she had kept it in her book, so she reread that letter in the hospital. And she was concerned about devotees, thinking about devotees, asking what happened, who came, all that. Up to whether the maid servant Parvati was well, up to that she was inquiring. She asked Vijay, does Parvati come and sweep, is she well? So, Sadhguru's concern, Sadhguru's love, all that is there. But we have to make a path for it to come. Unless we make a path for it to come, it will not be able to come. Our own ajnana will stop it. So we have to bring that to us. So writing to Sadhguru is something, you need not bring the letter here. If you want, you can bring the letter here. That email account is still open. It is there. You can send your emails to Sadhguru also. And Sadhguru knows it. Sadhguru is aware of everything. For example, there was one devotee in Guruvayur. He wanted to go to Tirupati that evening. This is something which happened 2005. It has happened. He wanted to go to Guruvayur that evening and to Tirupati that evening he was supposed to go. And at that time, one of his friends brought his son who was mentally unsound and said, keep him here, he's not behaving himself, let him be here. And they could not leave and he just went away. And he could not leave, and the boy was shouting and screaming and violent. And then he called up Sri Petam. He said, things are very difficult, I need to go to Tirupati somehow. Sadhguru must help me. So at that time the bhajans was finishing and Sadhguru was yet to come down. So I said, yes, after the bhajans over, I'll tell Sadhguru. He said, that's all right, I leave only at 10 o'clock, but Sadhguru must help me. Then Sadhguru came down. But before I told Sadhguru what happened, there was another call. After he's called Sri Petam, that mentally deranged boy became very quiet, became very calm. And they were able to take him to his house, and this devotee was preparing to go to Tirupati. So that call from the heart to Sadhguru, that is the prayer. That is how we should be praying. That is how we have been praying. That is how we should be praying. And that is how it is. For example, there is one devotee, he sends a message every time he has to do anything. In the morning, what he is going to do that day, he sends a message to Sadhguru. And he has got various difficulties, various problems which come up because of the nature of his work. He has got children to look after, so he has to look after them and get Sadhguru's help to look after them. But in the morning he sends that message. Many days I have not even read that message to Sadhguru. Before that, I receive a message saying everything is fine, everything has happened well due to the grace of Sadhguru, and my pranam to Sadhguru. He used to do it then, he does it now. So when we pray, we are linking ourselves to Sadhguru. And when we pray to Sadhguru, then Sadhguru's presence becomes stronger in us, becomes stronger in our heart. And what happens, it's like, there is a pond of water, and when you cut a channel, the water comes a little bit in the beginning, and a little more comes, and a little more comes. And then because of that force of with which the water comes in, that itself cuts and makes more place. So now we have to cut that channel. See, when the Guru is present, for example, more than 150 years ago, in the Arabian Sea there was a tsunami which came in 1848. So when it came in 1848, that tsunami, a lot of the land was inundated and went back, just like how it happened to us. But one of the very interesting things is that by Guruvayur, there's a place called Chavakala. In that area, the force was so much that it cut into that ground, and that place became much deeper. And the result is that the waves are very rough there, and the place is sort of cut into a sort of a channel in that area. I have myself seen that. I've gone by the lighthouse and seen it. And only later I read about this, how that force came. So when the Guru is there, the Guru is, pushing us, whether we are willingly or unwillingly seeking God, when He is pushing us. It's like that tsunami, the force is coming, and then Guru's presence is not there. Then like what happens? It gets silted up. So mud gathers there, and it's not deep anymore, and the water doesn't come. So we have to constantly see that the mud of Ajnana, the mud of, small things in our minds does not cover up that teaching which Sadhguru has given us. and that we will be able to, that flow of Sadhguru's grace will come. So we have to cut the channel now. From now on, that is the difference. Until now, this was flowing, like waves it was falling upon us. Now it's different. It is, we have to make that come. We have to see that place which the great wave of Sadhguru's blessings and karunya was there, that we have to see that it's not filled up by worldliness. The mud of worldliness should not come there. This doesn't mean that Sadhguru is not there. The sea is always there, the waves came in, the waves went out. Sea is always there, the sea water is coming if it is, we are there. So we have to make that come. And then what do we pray for? See, Sadhguru in her early days used to say, it's like going and asking a king for a cabbage or a brinjal or something, to ask for worldly things to God. Then as days went by, Sadhguru came down from that high pedestal of Vienna. For example, and just give one example how Sadhguru lived. When the early days, I remember from 65 to about 80, Sadhguru was having generally either Atma Bodha or Viveka Chudamani with her. 3 books generally always on the platform. This was Atma Bodha, Viveka Chudamani, Gita. These 3 used to be with her. So in Viveka Chudamani, there is a verse, when the beautiful, brilliant moon is shining, who will look at a painted moon? So, when Sadhguru was doing her sadhana, she brought everything under her control. Her mind, her senses, everything was brought under control during those years of sadhana. So, she would avoid listening to the music that she liked so much. She would eat sparingly. Like that, everything was contained in a manner without affecting other people. She'll fast, but she'll make elaborate meals and give other people. That's how she used to be. So, when once someone pointed out, see how this dark sky, it looks like dark velvet, the moon is shining like a diamond in that. Sadhguru went to look at it. Then she remembered the sloka. When this moon is shining, why do you look at a painted moon? And Sadhguru said to herself, this moon is shining because of the light of the sun. And the sun is shining because of God. So let me move my mind from all these things back onto God and to Bhagavan's feet. So the senses she pulled in like that. So what Sadhguru has achieved is not, we say that Sadhguru is a descent of God, yes. But those years of hard work which went in, from that year, from 1954 up to 1980, she used to very vigorously do sadhana, very strongly sitting up, meditating. So all that Sadhguru worked very hard to get that knowledge, to get that Shakti, which is, coming to us so easily because of her. We look at her picture, we just say, this is Anad Rakshaka. And everything comes to people who pray to that picture. Why? Because of that force at that time, that feeling which she had, that of karunya, that feeling of feeling sorry for a person who has done wrong. That feeling which she had, that Shakti which comes through that picture is not only what she came with, but also what she worked for. Since 2016, the 60 years, when 1956 Sadhguru started guiding people. Sadhguru was traveling. Sadhguru was very fond of train travel, so she was going in Trichy from one station to another, local train. She was going to see a doctor. She was expecting Vishnu Mohan. So at that time, when she was sitting in the waiting room for the train to come, then she said, then one Muslim lady came up to her and she said, I'm having so much of difficulties. My in-laws are treating me like this. My parents are saying, we've sent you to your in-laws' house, you've got to manage somehow. So Sadhguru gave her a lot of advice and blessings, and she said, you are like God for me, and she fell at Sadhguru's feet. It is now 60 years since that happened. This year it is 60 years. That is, Muslim lady is the first person to do Namaskaram to Sadhguru. And this is the 60 years of Sadhguru's teaching. So that grace has come to us. And while Sadhguru kept these very high standards of aspiration, of hard work, of self-control, of bringing one's mind to God, Sadhguru understood and understands that it's difficult for us. We do need things. We do have need of the things of the world. So Sadhguru has no problem about us asking for help from God for even attainment of worldly objects. That's quite natural. It is better that you should seek it from God than you seek it from ordinary people. Ordinary people are helping you. It's because of God's grace they are helping you. That doesn't mean that you should say, they are helping me because of God, so I'll be grateful to God and not to them. They are the instruments of God. And since they are instruments of God, you show them that respect. But if we have to ask, let us ask God. That's what Sadhguru said. We need to ask anything from God, let us ask God. We need to ask anything for anything from anyone. Let us ask God. I'm sorry I got that wrong. So, when we want something small even, then we ask God for it. What happens is that we get used to that. When we need something, our minds go naturally to God. And then, this is what the Gita says. Getting used to practice, abhyasa yoga yuktena, with the mind not going anywhere else, because why you're used to asking God. I want to reach there in time, please help me God. I want to do this, please help me God. So that habit which comes, God may not grant it, because it may not be the best thing for you, but you're used to asking Him. And when you keep asking Him, He will answer. So what happens is we get used to asking, we go towards Him again and again. Then we reach that divine Paramapurusha. Because then other thoughts don't come, because we are used to asking God, we are used to going to God, so we go to Him. It's a very profound sloka in the Gita which Sadhguru has shown us a very easy way. Long ago there used to be one person who used to come to see Sadhguru. He had some many of his relations had attained a lot of spiritual ability and all that. But he used to come to Sadhguru. He was a very well qualified person. He studied when he was young a good deal, and he had a good position. But his son wanted to study, and because of the expenses, because of that he had to continue working up to when he was almost in his late 60s. And nobody would keep him for a very long time. Then he'd come and tell Sadhguru, I have not got a job, I need a job. Then he would get a job. He would come and tell Sadhguru. Then told Sadhguru, why do you give so much time to this man? So openly he's only asking for worldly things, never thinks about God. So Sadhguru said, yes, he asked for worldly things, very openly he asked for worldly things. But did you notice one thing? I won't talk with him, even if he's in a hurry, I won't talk with him until the discourse is over. Only after the discourse is over, I'll talk with him. So I said, why? So that is going into his mind. Because he wants to talk with me, he's staying. He wants to say, he wants to get a job, he wants this. So because of that, he stays and he hears the discourse. One day that will bear fruit. This was somewhere 1986. In 2006, that man came and he saw me. He said, my son is now settled. I don't go for work anymore. I manage with my pension. So I said, how do you keep yourself occupied? He said, no, I go and do service for the poor people. I always remember what Sadhguru used to say. So I go and do. So Sadhguru's ways are different from what we would ordinarily expect. So to go to God, how do we pray? We lose ourselves in Him. We go to Him whenever we can. And what do we pray for? We pray for whatever we want. But we also remember to pray for things which Sadhguru has held valuable. Bhakti, Jnana and surrender. Shri Sadhguru Arpanamastu.
The grief you cry out from draws you toward union. Your pure sadness that wants help is the secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the names of. Give your life to be one of them.